Hello class and welcome to Math Minutes video lesson number 25. Open your notebooks to page 43 and we're going to look at how to graph a line when it's not in y equals mx plus b form. In other words, finding a slope when an equation looks like this. 2x plus 3y equals 18. How do we find the slope? This equation is not in slope-intercept form. To find the slope, do not, I repeat, do not make the common mistake of looking at the m or whatever number is in front of the x and assume that the slope is 2. No, bad news. Don't do that. To find the slope, the equation needs to be rearranged into the slope-intercept form. So let's take a look at how we do that. For example, in the equation above, 2x plus 3y equals 18, we can see that the 3y and the 18 are in their proper places to line up with the slope-intercept form. What that means is, in this form, the y is on the left side of the equation, and it is in this example. And the b, which is just our number, is on the right side of the equation. So these two elements are in the proper place. So we're off to already, we've got a good start. We don't have to do too much, but the only term then that needs to move is the 2x. 2x needs to be moved to the right side of the equal sign to align with our form. So to move 2x from the left side means we have to eliminate it, which means we're going to do the opposite operation. So if this 2x is positive, we're going to subtract 2x from both sides. So now we have 2x minus 2x, and what does that do? It gets rid of it. So all we have left over here now is 3y. Golden rule, whatever I do to one side of an equation, I must do to the other side. That means I'm going to subtract 2x from this side. Now, 2x, there isn't any other x term on that side of the equation, so we're really not subtracting it from anything, except you could think we're subtracting it from 0x because there is no x on that side. So we're just going to say it's negative 2x plus 18. So now I have 3y equals 2x plus 18. Our terms are looking closer to the formula. I have y, and then I have the mx, and I have the b. But y is not by itself yet. So it is being multiplied by 3. Remember, two numbers like that are written together, the 3 and the y, they're being multiplied together. So to separate the 3 from the y, we divide. Why? Because division is the opposite operation of multiplication. So we're going to divide everything by 3. So we divide the left side by 3. And we have to divide, there's two terms. Well, we have to divide each term by 3, everything on that side of the equation. So we end up with the 3 being divided by 3 cancels each other out. So we have y equals negative 2/3 x. Now 2/3 can't be reduced, so we're just keeping it just like that, which is kind of good, right? Because we need both rise and run. We need both a numerator and a denominator to be able to plot a slope. But now let's look at how do we get this 6? Well, it was 18. We've divided that by 3. That gives us 6. So now we haven't done anything yet to graph this line. All we did was move it from something that looks like this to a form that looks like y equals mx plus b. And now, without even doing any calculations, we can graph this line. But we aren't going to do any graphing yet. We're simply going to practice rearranging. So let's turn to the next page, 43, and let's do some practice together of rearranging these equations to look like y equals mx plus b. Let's just first analyze what we got going on here. The y is on the left side of the equal sign, good, and our number is on the right side, so that's good. All we have to move is the 4x. How do we do that? Opposite operation. let's subtract 4x from both sides. So let's just write what we have left. Well, if we subtract it, it kind of just goes away. So we're left with negative 2y. Remember, negative sign has to stay with the term it's with. Equals, now if we subtracted 4x on this side, we have to subtract 4x on that side. But these aren't like terms. So to stay in our form, I'm just going to write negative 4x. And then what happens to this 12? 12 is a positive number, so I'm just going to keep it there, but I'm going to put plus 12 because it's a positive number. And what have I done? I have converted this into y equals mx plus b almost. Let's not forget y is not by itself yet. I have to unstick. I got to get rid of that negative 2, so I'm going to divide by negative 2. And I have to divide every term by negative 2. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is a positive 1. That gives me my y. That's what I want to do. I want to eliminate that, so I'm left with y. Negative 4 divided by negative 2. A negative divided by negative gives me positive, and 4 divided by 2 gives me 2. So I have 2x. A positive 12 being divided by a negative 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6, and because I have opposite signs, my division rule says it's going to be minus, so I have now converted this. And what is my slope of this line? My slope, or m, equals 2, and my b equals negative 6. Now I can use this information and graph the line if I so desired. Let's look at number 2 together. My y is good, my 18 is good. All we have to do is move the x by doing the opposite operation. Negative 3x means I'm going to add 3x. What does that do to this side of the equation? It leaves me with y equals algebra's golden rule. I did it to this side, I have to do it to this side, so I'm going to add 3x, which gives me a positive 3x, but I don't have to put the positive in front of it. What happens to my 18? It's a positive number. I just do that. Do I have anything left to do? I don't, because y, there's nothing stuck to it. All I have to do is keep it right there, and I'm ready to go. My slope is 3. My y-intercept is 18. I'm ready to graph. Let's take a look at number 3. Well, now I've got my y written before my 3, my x, but it's still on the correct side of the equation. It needs to be on the left, so I don't have to do anything with that. And this is good. I don't have to do anything with that. So all I have to do is move my 3x. I'm going to do that by adding 3x, because now it becomes 0x. It's gone away. But I have to add 3x to this side. So I end up with 4y equals 3x plus 10. I'm almost done, but let's separate that 4 from the y by dividing 4. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. What does that bring me to? Y equals two positive numbers. I can't reduce, so I keep that as 3/4 x. This doesn't divide evenly, and algebra likes improper fractions. So I'm not going to convert this, but I will reduce it. The greatest common factor between 10 and 4 is 2. So I'm going to divide each number by 2, and that gives me 10 divided by 2 is 5, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So my final equation looks like that. All right, let's take a look at number 4. My y's good, my 1's good. Let's get rid of that 2. How am I going to do it? By adding 2x. That gives me negative 3y equals 2x. This 1 is positive, so plus 1. What do I do next? Divide by negative 3. Golden rule, everything gets divided by negative 3. So my equation ends up, I've gotten rid of this, so I end up with y equals, can I reduce that at all? Nope, 2/3 is as low as it can go, and it's a negative, so negative 2/3 x. plus 1 being divided by negative 3. Well, it's 1/3. Okay, I can't simplify that anymore, but I have a positive and a negative. So it's going to be minus 1/3, and there's my equation. I'm now ready to graph. Number 5. Y is looking good. The 14's looking good. All I got to do is move that 5x. Let's move that bus. There we go. Gets rid of that. So I end up with 4y equals negative 5x. Now this 14 is a negative 14, so it's going to be minus 14. I'm just going to keep that sign right with it. I'm just going to write it over here so I have my y equals mx plus b formula. But let's unstick the 4 and the y by doing the opposite operation, which is division. Cancels out. Golden rule, I've got to do to the other side everything I do to the first side. That leaves me with y on this side of the equation. 5/4 can't be reduced, but it's a negative and a positive, so opposite signs. Negative 5/4 x and negative positive, so it's going to be minus. It doesn't divide out evenly, but I can reduce it. 2 is my greatest common factor again. So I can divide each of these by 2, and I end up with y equals negative 5/4 x minus 14 divided by 2 is 7, and 4 divided by 2 is 2, minus 7/2. Our last example, number 6. Looks like, again, the only thing I have to move is this 3x. So that becomes, the only thing left over here is 5y equals minus 3x, so I'm going to minus 3x over here. This is a negative 20, so that is going to be minus 20 because I got to keep that little minus negative sign right with it. My one last step is to cancel out that 5. Golden rule, though, I have to divide everything over here by 5 also. This leaves me with y equals, this can't be reduced, negative being divided by a positive means it's going to stay negative, 3/5 x. Negative divided by positive, it's going to be negative, and what is 20 divided by 5? It does divide evenly, 4. So there is my last equation. Bring your completed notebooks to class, and I'll see you next class.